Hello students, let's get to work. In the previous videos, you learned solving one-step equations and then solving story problems with one-step equations. I kept all my notes together in my math notebook and I even put these flags on to help me find sections. So here is solutions to one-step equations. And here is one-step equation story problems. Now it's time for the next section. If you have some tape or flag, it can make your notebook a little easier to flip through. Sometimes I just put a piece of tape on the side like that if I don't have any flags. All right, these notes are two-step equations. Solutions to two-step equations. Please title your notes. Titling your notes is very important for keeping organized and knowing what you've learned. My handwriting is really bad. I want to fix that T. There we go. Solutions to two-step equations. I was distracted by my writing. Okay, let's do it. Number one, you can see there on my computer screen. T minus 3 divided by 2 equals 75. Now, in one-step equations, we could solve it in just one step. Now, there are two steps, but that's fine because it's just like doing a one-step equation twice. I don't think I need to show you as slowly as I did before. I'll go a little faster. Make sure you're following along on your paper because I never want to just do the work for you. You need to learn it yourself. Okay. The first thing we want to do is undo this division. T minus 3 is being divided by 2, and that's standing in the way of me solving this equation. So my strategy is to get rid of that 2 in the denominator first. In order to do that, I'll use the inverse operation, multiplication. So I multiply both sides by 2. I use parentheses to help me stay organized. When I multiply the left side by 2, the 2's cancel out because 2 divided by 2 equals 1. And I showed you that in the previous videos, so you already know what to do there. On the left side of the equation, I get t minus 3, and that's equal to 75 times 2, which is 150. Now, this minus 3 is standing in the way of my solution. My strategy is to add 3 to both sides because addition is the inverse operation of subtraction. I can undo the subtraction by adding the number back in. Now I get t on the left side because minus 3 plus 3 equals 0 and it cancels out. So t equals 150 plus 3. That's 153. Dun. When I get my solution, it's t equals some number. So when I get the equal some number, I'm done. But I still have to check my work. Always check your work because you're going to move on to high school and you wouldn't want to miss a problem because of some stupid little mistake that you made in a hurry. So just check your work. If I solve this correctly, then I can substitute this value of t back up into my original equation, and it's going to all make sense. So t equals 153 minus 3 divided by 2 must be 75 if I solved it correctly. Okay, 153 minus 3 is 150. I'll show you each step of my solution. 150 over 2 is 75. Yes, it equals 75. So yes, I solved it correctly. Let's try another problem, but I'm not going to show you every problem in the homework. I'm going to skip one. So now the next one is here. In your homework assignment, though, that's not the next problem. You better figure that out. This is actually number 3. And the equation is 9y minus 7.2 equals 4.5. But hey, this is easy. You're getting good at this now. Okay, what should I do first? Should I divide by 9? Or should I add 7.2 to both sides? Okay, well, I'm going to do it the wrong way first. Or it's not wrong, but it's going to take longer. Watch what happens if you get confused and you think, oh, I need to divide by 9 first. Well, if you just divide like that, you've made a big mistake because you have to do the same thing to both sides of the equation. But you only divided one term by 9. You can't do it that way. You have to divide the whole left side by 9. But if you do that, you actually make your problem harder because the whole left side divided by 9, well, yeah, these 9's cancel out, but you still have this negative 7.2 divided by 9 because what you really did was 9 divided by 9 times y minus 7.2 divided by 9 equals 4.5 divided by 9. See how it makes it harder if you undo this multiplication first? So that's not a strategy that I would use. Okay, so what I want to say is leave this term until last and undo this subtraction first. So I showed you why that won't work. I'm just going to cross it out and I'll change my color. Actually, I'll just rewrite it again so that there's no mistakes, no silly little mistakes. 9y minus 7.2 equals 4.5 was our original equation. So you see, I'm going to undo this subtraction first because I can add 7.2 to both sides. Then negative this 9y minus 7.2 plus 7.2, that does cancel out. That equals 0. And I'm left with 9y equals 4.5 plus 7.2, which is 11.7, isn't it? I hope I didn't make a mistake doing it in my head. Sometimes I do. Okay, now I can undo this multiplication. Okay, divide the left side by 9, divide the right side by 9, and these 9's cancel out, and I'm left with y equals 11.7 divided by 9. I don't even want to deal with fractions and decimals. I'm going straight for my calculator, and you should too. Let me tell you guys something. I've had 2 engineering degrees. I never had to do math by hand. We always used computers and calculators. So get used to using technology. You just need to know the procedures by hand. So that's why I show you every step. Anyway, that equals 1.3. Bam. If you're good with computers, you'd solve the whole thing with a computer program. But that wouldn't help you on a test if you didn't even know what to do. It's a really good idea to see it step by step, and then use a calculator to save some time. If I solved this correctly and y equals 1.3, then you're right, I have to check it. It should be able to go right back into my original equation. So let's check. I just check it right next to it. I use a different color so I'm not confused when I go back and look at my notes later. 9 times my alleged answer, 1.3, minus 7.2 should equal 4.5 if I solved it correctly. Okay, 9 times 1.3 is 9, 10, 11, 11.7? I'm not going to mess around with decimals. 1.3 times 9. Oh, 11.7. I was right. 11.7 minus 7.2 should equal 4.5. Minus 7.2 Okay, I got it. 4.5 equals 4.5. I can prove that I did it correctly. Okay, let's try another problem. Let's try this one. I know what you're thinking. No, not all those fractions. No. Come on, just do it. Because when you go into chemistry, there's a lot of fractions actually. When you're solving chemical problems, maybe you're going to do that. Okay, write the problem. 5/2 times D minus 2/3 equals -1/2. Let's find out what D is. Solve for D. So what's the first step you would do? Whatever number is being multiplied or divided by the variable, don't touch it yet. Get rid of these terms first. They don't have a variable in them. So first, combine the terms that don't have a variable in them. That'll save you some headaches. So we're going to add 2/3 to the left side and the right side of this equation. Notice right off the bat that I have -1/2 plus 2/3. I'm going to have to do something about those denominators in order to add those fractions. But anyway, I'm left with 5/2 times D, because these cancel out, equals -1/2 plus 2/3. I'm just going to do that right here on the side of my paper. I need a common denominator, and 2 and 3, their common denominator is the least common multiple. If you remember those things, that's going to be 6. So I'm going to have something over 6 plus the other number over 6. If I change this first denominator to 6, well, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So 1 times 3 is 3. That's -3/6 plus 4/6. And I get 1/6 when I add them together. There you go. Now let's keep going with our problem. I have 5/2 times D, so I'll divide 5/2. And I'll divide the other side by 5/2. I already reviewed fraction division in my other video, so I hope you followed along well. I'm just going to write this out really quickly. What I'm left with is, when these cancel out, D equals 1/6 divided by 5/2. But I know right away that that's the same as 1/6 times 2/5, which is 2 divided by 30, which is 1/15. So my answer is D equals 1/15, and unfortunately, I'm going to check it. I'm always going to check it, even when I want to be finished, and I'm sure I didn't make a mistake, right? But you probably will make mistakes because you need a lot of practice to go as fast as I do. Anyway, let's check this answer. If I got it right, I can insert it back in. So 5/2 times 1/15 minus 2/3 should equal -1/2. And right away, I hate multiplying big fractions, so I'm going to reduce this fraction. The 5 and 15 reduce to 1 and 3. Now that's easier. And I get 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6, minus 2/3 equals -1/2. 1/6 minus 2/3 is the same as 1/6 minus 4/3. Now I can, oops, not 4/3, 4/6. Sometimes I make more mistakes just checking it. Anyway, so 1/6 minus 4/6 is -3/6. Did I make a mistake? -3/6 does not equal -1/2, does it? Of course course it does. Reduce your fractions, silly. Negative 3/6 is equal to negative 1/2. Don't forget to reduce your fractions. Yes, ta-ding. Let's keep going. Here's another problem, but this is different because you have to think about this one. Translate the sentence into an equation, then solve the equation to find the number. Okay, a number is decreased by 7 and then divided by 5. Wait, a number decreased by 7 and then divided by 5 is 13. When they say a number, you can just say x. That's x. Whatever the number is, we'll call it x. So a number, which means x, decreased by 7. If it's decreased, then it's less. So this number decreased by 7, which is x minus 7, and then divided by 5 is 13. The is means equals. Okay, we did it. We translated that sentence into this equation. Now I can solve for x. First, I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. And I get x minus 7 equals 65? Is that right? It must be right. I hate making mistakes though, and I hate doing it in my head. 13 times 5 is definitely 65. Of course it is. Why do I even doubt myself? Okay. Plus, add 7 to both sides, and I get x equals 72. And then check my work. It's as easy as that. (72) minus 7 divided by 5 must be 13, unless I've made a mistake. I'm just going to use my calculator. Okay. Of course it equals 13. How could you doubt me? Okay, great. There's another problem like that. And I'm going to do this one too, because you know what? You might have forgot what the word quotient means. In fact, I had forgotten. You know what I did? I looked it up in the internet. And the quotient is the answer after two numbers are divided. So read this one. It says the quotient of a number and 2. So that's a number, we'll call that x, and 2. The quotient of a number and 2 minus 9 is 14. So let me put some notes here. The is where your equal sign goes. When they said the quotient of a number and 2, that means the answer when you divide something. So here is the quotient of a number and 2. Minus 9 is 14. Okay, I'm going to let you solve this on your own, but I wanted to make sure and help you with that word quotient. In fact, I'll even learn to spell it. Quotient. There we go. The quotient of a number and 2. Great. Let's go on to a story problem. So I'm only making one video for this part, but on the next page of your notes, go ahead and title that story problem. So here we have two-step equations, story problem. I don't think you need to write out everything in the story problem. Remember what I showed you before? Just write down the important information. So go ahead and title that now. First, we're going to write down the important information. Then we're going to write an equation and solve the equation. Okay? All right. Let's read it together. A solar panel company pays each salesperson a base salary of $2,000 a month plus $700 commission for each solar panel they sell. One new salesperson earned a total of $60,400 last year. Big money. However, a senior salesperson earned $83,500. How many more solar panels did the senior salesperson sell? Okay, this is actually more than 2 steps. I'm tricking you into something a little harder. Well, why don't we find out how many solar panels the new salesperson sold, and then how many solar panels the senior sold? Then we can subtract them to find how many more solar panels the senior salesperson sold. Anyway, here's the important information, is that the salary equals $2,000 a month plus $700 per solar panel. And the new salesperson, I'm going to call them S new, that person earned $60,400 last year. And the senior salesperson, who I'm going to call S with a subscript S, they earned $83,500 last year. Maybe I should be a salesperson. It's good money. Okay, now let's write some equations. The salary of the new salesperson equals $60,400. And what that equals is the base salary of $2,000 plus $700 times the number of solar panels sold. I'm going to call that N. But I don't want to be confused with the number of solar panels sold by the other salesperson. So I'm going to put N with a subscript N. That means number sold by the new salesperson. And you can use whatever variables you want as long as you keep it straight and organized. Okay, so here's my first equation, and I want to solve for N. But I'm going to wait a second on that, and I'm going to go ahead and write my other equation. So the salary of the senior salesperson equals $83,500, which is the base salary of $2,000 plus $700 per panel times the number that the senior salesperson sold. I'll call that N with a subscript S. Great. Now, to find how many more solar panels the senior person sold, I need to solve for each of these N's and then subtract them. Let's do it quickly. I'm tired, so let's do it quickly. Okay, so first thing I want to do is subtract 2,000. I'm just solving this top one first, by the way, for the new salesperson. I'm going to subtract 2,000 from each side of the equation. And what I'm left with is 58,400 equals 700. Oh, I made a big mistake. Wait, I made a big mistake, a huge mistake. That's their salary per month. But the problem told us they made this much in a year. I made a huge mistake. Oh no. So if this is their year-long salary, then they didn't make $2,000 plus $700 times the number of panels. This $2,000 was just for 1 month, but there's 12 months in a year. So that should have been $24,000. I made a huge mistake. I would have had such a wrong answer. Cross this off. It's not 2,000. It's 24,000. Good thing I caught myself. How embarrassing. Cross this one out too. $24,000. I'm going to rewrite it down here because I hate making mistakes. And I don't want to make any more mistakes. Okay. So the salary of the new salesperson equaled $60,000 last year. And that was equal to $2,000 a month times 12 months. So that's $24,000 in base salary plus $700 times the number of solar panels sold by the new salesperson. Oops, not senior, new. Gosh, I almost made another mistake. Let's solve for the number of panels sold by the new salesperson before I move on. Okay, so minus $24,000 from each side is my first move. And I'm going to use a calculator. Don't say anything. 60,400 minus 24,000 equals $36,400 on the left side of the equation, and that's equal to 700 times the number of panels sold by the new salesperson. Okay, now take this number, and you can quickly see what we need to do, right? Now divide off 700. So I divide that by 700, and I get 52. Okay, great, I solved it. I'm just going to put that right here next to it. The number of solar panels sold by the new salesperson last year was 52 panels. Okay, now how many panels did the senior employee sell? The senior salesperson's salary, and I think you can do this on your own. So I'm going to do it quietly, and you do it too, and then we'll check answers in a minute. Pause the video if you need to. Solve for the number of panels sold by the senior salesperson. Okay, I'm done. Are you done too? Check your answer with mine. I got that the number of solar panels sold by the senior salesperson was 85. Now, I didn't show all my math carefully because I've been doing this for a long time, and I just wrote the steps. I subtracted 24,000 from both sides, and then I divided both sides by 700, and that gave me the answer of 85. But the question asked how many more were sold by the senior salesperson. So we need the number sold by the senior minus the number sold by the newbie, and that equals, here it is, 85 minus 52. 85 minus 52 is not going to happen in my head. 33. The senior salesperson sold 33 more panels. Wow, that's about 33. I want to divide that by 12 months. Is that like 2.5 more per month? Oh, per week? Hold on. If they sold 33 more panels, how many is that per month more? Okay, almost 3 per month more. Just wondering. Not that much more. Seems like it. Okay, there's my answer. But you need to show all the steps to solve this in your slides. You might like to use my method where you just show your steps like this and then give the answer. Because you don't always want to do such detailed work. Right now you're learning how to do it. So I do want to show you and see your detailed work. But when you get good at this, you can just show some steps and check your answer. See you later. Get ready for your assignment, by the way. And make sure you really learned it, because then you take a quiz. Bye-bye.